Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is Sue, and today I'll be doing the A to Z Bookish Survey book tag. This was created by Perpetual page turner, and I saw it on Miz Moffatt's channel. So a whole slew of questions here, of course related to the alphabet, so we're going to be taking a literary tour through the alphabet, and I'll be referring to my notes down here below. So, number 1, A is the author you've read the most. Now, I had to go kind of look through my bookshelves and Goodreads and kind of add these up. Jasper Fforde I've read 12 books of, so quite a few of his. I think I've read just about everything he's published. Colin Dexter I've read 13 books, all of the Inspector Morse mysteries. I absolutely love these. Kim Harrison comes in pretty close too. She's at 14, so I've read the entire Hollows series plus this kind of guide to the series. But the one that tops it all are the books written by Barbara Mertz, although I have not yet read her non-fiction books written under her actual name. She has published books under the name of Barbara Michaels to the extent of some 29 books. I believe I've read just about every single one of those. She's written under the name Elizabeth Peters, and 3 different characters she's written in that under that name. She's written the Jacqueline Kirby books. I've read 4 of those. Vicky Bliss books. I've read 7 of those. Amelia Peabody. I've read 7 of those books so far. So I'd say it averages out to about 47 books by this particular author. And I still have quite a few to go, but absolutely love everything she's ever written. Highly recommend her if you haven't picked her up. The Barbara Michaels books are sort of gothic supernatural, and then the books she writes under Elizabeth Peters are mysteries set in sort of different eras. B, what is the best sequel ever? I've read a lot of sequels in terms of a lot of like YA, but nothing that really stands out there. That was kind of a tough one. I mean, you could go middle grade with the Harry Potter books. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but I went ahead and picked something a little bit more obscure to some people. I absolutely love the Thursday Next books, and the sequel to that was Lost in a Good Book. This particular edition I also happen to have signed to me by the author, and I also included a very strange postcard with it. But if you haven't ever read Thursday Next series, this is a literary detective who can actually enter into novels. And in this first book in the series, Jane Eyre goes missing from the original manuscript. So all the publications of Jane Eyre are blank because they're written from first-person point of view, and the main character is missing. And it's just really clever series. C, currently reading. For that, I'm currently reading a manga. This is Corpse Party, Volume 5, Blood Covered, kind of a horror manga. And then I'm also reading a Canadian classic. This is a strange manuscript found in a copper cylinder. Some sailors find a strange cylinder floating in the water. And there's a manuscript in there by a guy named Adam Moore, and it tells how he finds this strange sort of utopian society at the foot of a volcano, and he's sort of writing in the hopes that someone will find this manuscript and get the information to his father because he may never be able to return home, and that's about all I know about it, but the writing so far is really quite good. D is drink of choice while reading. Pretty much these days, just water. I used to always have like one of those little Starbucks mocha frappuccino bottles, but sugar's just way too much, and I'm just trying to watch what I drink these days, so I'm just water, possibly a cup of coffee sometimes when it's colder out. E is for ebook or physical book. Well, I can't see them now. They're kind of buried under the bears back there, but I have 2 e-readers. I really do enjoy reading on them when I do have them. I don't pull them out very often or charge them up, but when I do, I really do enjoy reading them. It's so much easier just to push a little button or swipe across to change the page. You can just set it down on the counter. You don't have to worry about it flopping closed or anything. But then I also enjoy having a physical book in my hand. Obviously, I have tons of physical books, so I don't know. That one's a real hard one to pick. I suppose if I had to make a final choice, I would end up going physical book. F is for a fictional character you would probably have dated in high school. I'll give him the Steve Donahue look. And if you don't know what I mean, check out Steve Donahue on YouTube. I'm just going to pass on that question. G is for glad you gave this book a chance. I'm going to go with Anne Bronte's The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I'd read both of her sister's books, Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, but I'd never picked up anything by Anne Bronte. Probably something I might have just passed by, but on YouTube, Ange at Beyond the Pages had talked about this as being one of her favorite classics, and I picked it up and thoroughly enjoyed it, and now it is one of my favorite classics. H is for Hidden Gem book. I went with John Baird's The Explorers Guild, also co-written by Kevin Costner. Probably a book that most people would just sort of pass by thinking Kevin Costner writing a book, I don't know. But the cover right away grabbed my attention. Anything exploration. This has sort of like a, I don't know, Sinbad sailor kind of thing going on there. And then when you flip up in the book, you see it's part graphic novel, part text. There's some beautiful illustrations within it. Then I started reading the synopsis of it, and it just sort of grabbed my attention. It says it has the power of storytelling of Kipling, and it does read sort of in a classic type format. It's just a very unique book, and actually you would find it at least at a Barnes & Noble in the science fiction section. So check it out on Goodreads, give it a look and see. I think you'll find something really amazing in that book. I is for The Important Moment in Your Reading Life. Then I went back to my high school days of reading, and I had a particular English teacher that I really liked, and first introduced us to Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I fell in love with this book. Just can't get enough of it. We got to see the movie of it as well in school. Absolutely loved that. But he also introduced us to Isaac Asimov with the robot novels. For some reason, started with the second one. We were assigned to read The Naked Sun. And this is a series that sort of introduces you to the laws of robotics. They're not only just sci-fi, but there's mysteries involved. So it brought out a love of both of those genres, science fiction and mystery, in me that I just took off, and I couldn't wait to read the rest of the series. I've now finally gotten hold of a copy of The Caves of Steel, The Naked Sun, and The Robots of Dawn. There are so many more books in the robot series and things like that, but I was so happy to get hold of this copy, and like I said, he introduced me to two wonderful books, and it just really launched my love of reading. I've enjoyed reading since I was in grade school and stuff, but that just gave it a whole new light, you might say. J is for Just Finished. I don't have a physical copy of this book, but I read Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs, which is the third book, and I believe the final book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. Hard to say. Overall, it was pretty good. I love the first one the best. I felt the third one kind of dragged a little bit. Probably could have done with this being a 2-book series. I don't think it needed to be stretched out so long into 3. But I did appreciate how it ended. I thought it had a really good ending, and yeah, I liked it. K is for the kinds of books you won't read. I'll have to categorically say romance books. I don't mind books with romance in them, but I never go to the romance section. I never interested at all in any of those titles. They just don't capture my attention whatsoever. L is for the longest book you've read. Without doubt, and just recently finished, that would have to be War and Peace, this particular edition, including all the notes and summaries and maps and things, tops off at a whopping 1,399 pages. M is for major book hangover because I don't have major book hangovers. Nothing that like I couldn't pick up another book because, oh my god, I just, I can't get over what I read in the past. I might think about a book, but it's not going to stop me from reading anything else. I wouldn't call it a hangover of sorts, so nothing for that one. And it's from the number of bookcases you own. Besides this one here, I have 3 more down in the basement, so just 4 total. Woefully inadequate, hence they're on the dresser behind me and on the floors and wherever else, boxed up in closets. O is for the one book you've read multiple times. I have 3 that really fit into that category. If I had to narrow it down to the one probably the most, I would say it would be To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I've also listened to this many times on audio. Sadly, it was on CDs, and I no longer have a CD player, so won't be able to listen to the audio anymore. But I highly recommend it. It's very well done. This is my 35th anniversary edition of the book, but when I started, it was a small little mass market one that I read so many times I had a rubber band holding it together because the pages were falling out of it. And in addition to that, I've also read the entire series of Jasper Fforde many times. I've also listened to them on audio again. Highly recommend this series. I really love it. And then Kim Harrison's The Dead Witch Walking. This is her Hollow series, a 13-book series. I've read the books. I've listened to them on audio multiple times, but probably the main one for this particular prompt would be To Kill a Mockingbird. P is for preferred place to read. When the weather's nice, I absolutely love reading outside. It's actually quite peaceful and quiet in my backyard, and I just enjoy the fresh air. Q is for a quote that inspired you from a book that you've read. I've never really paid attention to quotes. I don't know why that is. I'd like to kind of maybe change that and start being a little more critical when I'm reading and paying attention to these things. Maybe start underlining or marking off passages. But to this point, I've never really paid that much attention to quotes. I don't know why. Iris for reading regret. I guess in terms of my overall reading life, I don't know. Maybe if I went back to like grade school, one thing I regret was we had like a reading contest, and whoever read the most books at the end won a prize or whatever. But you had to not only read the book, write a report, you had to do an oral report in front of the teacher, not in front of the whole class, just in front of the teacher, and describe the book. And I was extremely introverted. I still am to a certain extent. I mean, on a camera you can't tell that, you're not seeing me in person. But I only got through one. You had to at least do one to pass, but I only did one. I read more books. I just didn't tell the teacher about them. But I kind of regret that. I don't know why. You know, it's tough being an introvert. Anyway, S is for a series that you've started that you need to finish, and all the books are out right now. I don't have a book to show you other than one by the author, which is Elizabeth Peters. The series that she wrote, though, was the Amelia Peabody series. And just this year, a short time ago, came out the 20th and final book in the Amelia Peabody series. I've read probably, I think it's about 7 of them, maybe 8, quite some time ago, and I'm kind of rereading my way through the series or listening to them on audio to get back into it. But the 20th one was not completed prior to her death. I think she passed, I want to say 2012, but don't hold me to it. But there were sufficient, notes and from her left behind, and her good friend Joan Hess, who was also a mystery writer, compiled and finished the book for her. So it's time I kind of polished off that series, because it's absolutely hilarious and a really great mystery, Victorian era mystery set in Egypt. Great character, you gotta try her. T is for your 3 all-time favorite books, and you've already seen some of them pop up already in this tag. First one is Jasper Ford's The Eyre Affair. This is his first book in the Thursday Next series. I'd probably have to include the entire series to say all-time favorite books, but definitely the first book is fantastic. Also, again, Kim Harrison's books, Dead Witch Walking, the first book in the Hollow series. I have to include all of that series as a whole. And then, again, most obviously, my most read book is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. U is for unapologetic fan of... fill in the blank. It should be kind of obvious between the books, and you can't really see this shelf. There's like gobs and gobs of Doctor Who memorabilia. I won't show you close up because it's extremely dusty. Down below on the bottom shelf, way down there, are my old Doctor Who VHS tapes. I'm not even sure if my VHS player will play them anymore, sadly. I've had audio dramas. I have tons of books. I have the novelizations. Big fan. I have shirts, I have sweatshirts, yeah. Doctor Who fan. B is for very excited for this release. I've never really gone, for book sale you'd think I would be like looking ahead at what's coming out, but I have so much to read that I'm too busy delving into this stuff sometimes to see what's coming, I'll see it the moment it does come, because I'm receiving manager, I'm going to be unpacking it. But I don't really go and look on websites or see, way in advance what's coming out. I may hear about it if it's a very author that I'm really interested in, but currently I haven't really heard anything coming out. So W is for worst bookish habit. I can't really think of one. I mean, I don't see it as a bad habit, buying books way in advance of when I'm going to read them. I wish I was a faster reader, but I'm not going to apologize for buying books. But yeah, I don't dog-ear my pages. I don't, I don't know. I don't really think I have a bad habit for books. X is for X marks the spot. You have to start at the top left corner of your bookcase and pick the 27th book. Now, I'm not going to be picking from that bookcase just because I haven't read the books in that case yet, so I decided to pick the second one where I've read all of these. So, number 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Alright, 27 is Say Her Name by James Dawson, now known as Juno Dawson. This particular book is a YA horror book about Bloody Mary. Scared the crap out of me. I absolutely loved it. And there was a weird thing. I think this one begins with the drip, drip, drip. It begins with this. You can see that here. Drip, drip, drip. After that, I read 2 other books that had that same phrase in them. I think I filmed a little thing on my channel. You might be able to find it. So, yeah. Freaked the heck out of me. But Gino Dawson's books are great. I can't wait to read any more from them. I've also read her book, Under My Skin. And I'm looking to read more that she comes out with. Why is for your latest book purchase? For that, it would be the Decameron by Giovanni Boccaccio. Kind of an Italian classic that I picked up because I'm going to be joining the read-along hosted by Adam at Memento Mori in September. So we'll be reading this huge book. And I do want to read more Italian literature, so I'm glad he happened to mention this because I didn't really know about the book, believe it or not. Never read it at school or any of that stuff. But yeah, curious to check that one out. Z is for Zsnatcher, or the last book that kept you up way late. Probably, I have to go with the Explorers Guild. When I was reading this, there was times I didn't want to put it down, and you get into the, especially the graphic novel parts, and you're just kind of flying through it, and you want to see what's coming up next. So I'd probably have to go with that one. I generally don't stay up very late because I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work. So I probably pushed myself a little bit with this one, but yeah, that would be my answer for that. So that is the A to Z Bookish Survey book tag. So I'm going to go ahead and tag some people. I don't think Steve Donahue's done this one yet, so I'm finally going to try and tag Steve on this. Also, 2 new booktubers to me, anyway. I've just come across them. There's Curtis Books and Films and Graham Quigley. Also, I'm going to tag Ange at Beyond the Pages, who very kindly was one of the hosts of our read-along for War and Peace. I'm going to tag Cheryl at CR Flames Fan, and also my good friend Charlie over at Duvet Day Devours. I want to see your literary tour through the alphabet. So, hope you guys enjoyed this, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.